guys, I'm Brianna, welcome back to my channel. So this video I didn't expect to do either. This is another book review, and if you know my channel, you know my book reviews. I kind of just read a book, fall in love with it, and then decide I'm gonna go talk about it on my channel because I can't get enough of it. So again, this is what happened with this book. Again, wasn't expecting to review it, but I'm just really happy to talk about it because it was just so good. Like, I love this book. So this book is The Marriage Effect by Karla Sorensen. This is actually book 3 and the last book in the series. You do not have to read the rest of the books to read this book. So, like, it's not as connected. It's kind of connected, but it's not. I suggest reading the other books before this one. And again, I'm going to talk about some spoilers later in this review with this book, just because it is the 3rd book in the series. But yeah, so I'm just excited to talk about this. So I just finished reading this like 5 minutes ago, and basically the premise of this book series, it's called the Washington Wolves series, and it's a NFL football romance. So it's a made-up NFL team. She didn't want to use real teams, but the author basically writes in 3 different books, 3 different plots of how an NFL player and a woman end up getting together and their life, like a glimpse of their life afterward and everything, and each one has a different plot. So this one specifically is about Paige and Logan. I'll talk about it. So basically, Paige and Logan, what happens here is Paige is a retired model, and she's like redhead, beautiful. She was on Sports Illustrated. She's Allie's best friend. Now, Allie is the owner of the team, and she's the one that book number 1 is about. So I'm not going to talk too much about the other books. So then they're best friends. So that's how Paige is with the team. So her aunt that she was like super close with left her in her will that she needed to marry in order to get her inheritance, and her inheritance was $3 million. And Paige is the type of woman that she did not want to be married. Like, no one, she's very like she's a strong independent woman, and she just felt like no one was at her level, if that makes sense. So she didn't really see anyone to get married. But then we have Logan, and Logan, you find out, is a guardian to his 4 younger sisters. They are 16, 14, 12, and then 2 twins that are 12. There's 4 of them, yeah. So he is their guardian. You don't really know. It's weird. Okay, so he's the brother, and his mom and dad got divorced. So you learn his mom and dad got divorced, and then his dad marries this woman who's apparently 17 years younger than him because he wants to seem young. So then he has 4 new kids. So technically these are his half-sisters, but whatever. So then him and his brother do not get along, and it's just a whole long story with that. So basically the brother was like, I'm gonna bring you to court because you can't provide a stable home for them, and he wanted to take the kids. So Logan's only option was technically to get married. So then, lo and behold, Paige and Logan, they strike a deal. So they get fake married at first, and then it's all about that, and it turns into a relationship. But honestly, I just loved this book. This is the only one in the series I gave a 5 out of 5 to. The other 2 I gave 4s out of 5. This one was just such a relatable book. Like, there were strong female characters throughout the whole book. I absolutely loved Logan's character. He was just such a genuine person, and I just really liked his character. And I did also enjoy the romance in here because I guess you can say the timeline is fast in these novels, but I felt like the romance was just very genuine because obviously they had an attraction at first, but they didn't really act on it, and it was just like a marriage of convenience. That's what I would call it. It was like kind of a marriage of convenience, and they just genuinely built up a relationship, and I really love that about the other books because I feel like a lot of books nowadays, because of the timeline being so short, it's very insta-love, and insta-love is not real. So I just really appreciated what she did with this. But, okay, so I'm going to get into the spoiler section now, but what I do like is Logan's 4 sisters are going to be in a new series. So this is the last book of the series. There were originally going to be 4, but she decided to write 3. And then in the spin-off, it's going to be Logan's 4 younger sisters. I'm not sure if football is going to be involved in the spinoff. In the first book, it's 100% going to be involved because the first book is going to be about Molly and Noah, who is their neighbor at the time who plays football. Very excited for that. I'm also curious if it's going to be more of like a college romance or if it's going to be when they're adults. Like, I'm not really sure. It's going to be very interesting. But I'm curious to see what's going to happen. It won't come out until December, so we have a while to wait. But again, I'll write a little bit more of my review on book reads, but if you love football romance, if you just love a rom-com or marriage convenience stories, anything like that, please check this book out. It's so good. She reminds me kind of a Candy Steiner author. That's what her writing reminds me of. A little bit of R.S. Gray. Just really, really good. I love this book, and I just want to share this series with you guys so you can love it too. Also, this does kind of remind me of like a grown-up version of Abby Glines' Field Party series. So if you like that, you'll definitely like this. It's right here. All her Field Party books. But, okay. So, bye guys! If you don't want to hear spoilers, come back and watch this section. Okay. Hello, my spoiler people. So, basically, I'm not going to go too much into detail, but basically, I just loved everything about this book. I loved the relationship. I loved the chemistry. I loved just Paige in general was such a badass female. Like, I really, really loved her character, and honestly, she just brought up so many great points, and I just love to see her role in this. So, basically, Paige was a model, and as a lot of people know, models are kind of just seen for their pretty faces, and some people, yeah, sure, it may just be that way, but other people like Paige's character, they are just pretty face, and it talks more about the modeling industry, which I thought was very interesting, and I just loved how, like, Paige was, like, no BS, no shit's given, and she was just very, like, out there, and she expressed herself, and I just really, really appreciate that for her character. As Logan's character, when we get into him, I just honestly, it was great to see him in that brother role, like the older brother role, and I liked how she added that in there because it wasn't just about a football for me. It was more of a romance family novel, which I really enjoyed. It was very interesting because of how responsible Logan was. It did feel like he had 4 daughters instead of 4 sisters, so I thought that was kind of interesting. But again, there's a huge age gap because the younger sisters, I think there's a 20-year age gap. He's 36 in here, and the sister is 16, the oldest one. So I thought that was very interesting. But it was just so good. As for the sisters, they each brought something interesting to the table. Molly was the oldest, and I freaking love that she's writing a romance between her and Noah. I think that's going to be the coolest thing. So basically, at one point in here, she gets caught with the neighbor Noah, and Noah's 19 at the time, and Molly obviously lied, saying she was 18, so she was 16. But they were, like, in his room making out, whatever, and I just think it's going to be a great romance. I kind of hope... I don't think you'd be able to do a college romance out of that because she'd be 16 and he's 19. So it'd probably be when he's in the NFL. But I think it's just going to be a great romance. I think it's going to be just so cool. And I feel like Logan in it is just going to be so funny because he's going to be the older brother. And then we have Izzy, which I actually really liked her character. She was very reserved and she kind of didn't trust easily. So I think that was very cool to see Molly, who's very outgoing, vibrant, to Izzy. So I think that was a good distinction between the two. So it'd be interesting to see her romance. And the twins, I think, are going to be great. I kind of hope she writes the twins in college. I think that would be really interesting. But I just think it's going to be super interesting in general to see Logan in this parental role when the twins get older. Or, like, when his sisters get older, because I think that would be really cool. But, yeah. That's pretty much all I want to talk about. There's a little bit of football in here. He gets injured at one point, so it's not really hugely football based. So if you are a big football fan, it's not that football based. Like, I still enjoyed it no matter what. But I think it was just a great story. I feel like there were a lot of life lessons learned in here, and I just loved all the female characters in this book. They were so strong. And I love that in all the books. For example, the first book with Allie, she became the owner of a whole football team. You don't see that. Normally, it's an old white guys club. Like, and I just thought it was so empowering to see all these females in, like, big, powerful roles and how they stood up for themselves. I just thought that was really, really cool, especially in a male-dominated sport. So, yeah. But that's literally what I want to talk about this book. I hope you guys really check it out. In my Goodreads, you'll see if you look this up, you'll see my review to this book. Please go check it out. I love them so much. There's only 3 of them. They're also really short. They're very quick reads. Honestly, I read them all in a day. If you're a fast reader, you'll probably do the same thing. But they're very enjoyable, and I know you guys, if you guys like romance, will like these too. So definitely go check them out, and let me know down below what you think about them. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!